Howdy folks, I'm Doctor McFarland. It is Tuesday, a little bit before 4 o'clock. I'm a little early today. But what I'm going to do is, because I have a new thing to try out. Ooh, I got a box cutter up here. Cool. Box cutter, look at that. Also, you can see some guitars over here. I'm going to be playing the Kiesel Lyra today, just because I hadn't really played it in a while, but it's cool. So I ordered the Fractal FM9 right here in this here box. You can see it, right? That one's for the thumbnail. The thumbnail shot. Because every good YouTuber just, I'm not a YouTuber, but, you gotta take the candid shot there and all the stuff. I had the MX5 set up last night to do some Headrush live stream. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to unbox this thing, and I will hook it up to an OG Helix in the effects loop of the OG Helix, and we're going to shoot out some amps. And since I do not have a stadium to test with, which is fine, I don't care, we'll just see how the OG Helix compares to a Fractal. And then if we find that the Helix and the Fractal either sound similar enough or they just sound drastically different, then it may give you an idea of how the Helix would stand up against a Stadium XL, or even just a Stadium, because they're technically the same brain, just slightly different hardware. I think the processing should be the same. This is what I like about Headrush, is the Prime, the Core, and the Flex Prime, and even the older units, they all had this similar thing set up, is the processing power was exactly the same in all three. You just literally chose the form factor that you wanted, but you didn't lose out on DSP or processing power. And it'd be really cool if you could do the same thing for the Line 6 products, by the way. Why shouldn't a Line 6 Stomp have the same processing power as the big boy? Maybe you don't need the big boy on your fly date trip. Maybe all you need is a Stomp or a Stomp XL, but you don't want to lose out on the power. And I would think that if you wanted the more switches, then maybe you just buy both. Maybe you buy the big version for like your big boy stadium gigs or your club gigs or whatever, and then when you're doing like a small fly date and you don't need as much, you don't have as much room, but you still want to be able to use the same presets, then you just take the smaller one. You're still making money, Line 6. You're not losing out on any sales at this point, because you're going to have people that are going to buy literally all the products that you have, depending on what situation, and use them in what situation they need to, and still know they're getting the same processing power. Same with Fractal. I mean, yes, the FM9 Turbo, that's why they had to come out with a turbo version, because, well, we figured out a way to, make it more powerful. Well, they should have just had it more powerful from the beginning, and had their Axe-FX3, the rack version, for the really hardcore touring guys like Metallica and all these other big, huge bands, like not small tiny bands, but like bands that sell like millions of albums and gets millions of streams and billions of streams and sells out American tours and Australian tours, all the big band stuff, right? And you can have that market. Like, you can say, we have all these products that have the exact same processing power, but you have a choice. Do you want a rack version with a FC12 foot switch? Do you want an FM9 with 9-foot switches? Do you want an FM3 with only 3-foot switches? And you're still going to get plenty of sales. I guarantee it. So that's why I like the Headrush, is you're not limited on DSP just based on the product you happen to buy. Because you might be the far extreme on the opposite end of the spectrum and be like, I'm just a bedroom player. I don't need the rack version of a Fractal, but I would definitely buy an FM3 and know that I can get dual amps and dual reverbs and, all the processing power that the big boy has, just in a smaller form factor. So, and what as soon as I buy one of these, the FM9s, that they come out, Fractal comes out with the AM4, which is a sister product with the VP4, which is their virtual pedal board. And the AM4 looks really cool. You don't have to have a drive block in there, but it does come with all the amps, which is really neat. It does have gapless switching between scenes, but you literally only have 4 blocks in a preset, and you can change channels between those scenes. So you could have your amp block have like a clean deluxe, a Marshall on channel B, a Bogner on channel C, then like a Mezzo Boogie on channel D, right? You can change between those using scenes. But if you want to switch from one preset to the next and you have delay and reverb, well, you better have the same exact delay and reverb with the exact same settings between those two presets. Otherwise, you're going to hear a gap in your sound. And that's how the Boss GX100 works. That's how the old AX8 from Fractal worked. Many units have done that. And the OG Helix right back over here, you can have gapless switching between presets, but you have to do away with one of the DSP cores to allow the gapless switching to happen. So anyway, there's all kinds of limitations out there, and I've received comments on my channel and also other people's videos of saying, yeah, just buy an amp. Just buy an amp. That's all you gotta do, is just buy an amp. If you want the real thing, just buy an amp. I totally get it, but if you're on a fly date, you can't take your Mezzo Boogie Mark 7 head and 4x12 cab with you on the plane. Don't be an idiot. It's not going to happen. And if you're a weekend warrior and you don't mind carrying around a 2x12 cab or a 4x12 cab and a head and a tube combo and a big pedal board and whatever else, then do what you got to do. But if you're a working musician in 2025, almost 2026, and you're not using a Mahler, then you're losing out on a lot of flexibility and convenience of not having to lug around a big amp and a pedal board and all these different things. You can just literally have your sound in a small, compact device that now you can literally take with you down on Broadway, playing in the honky tonks. You can go to Texas, playing over there. You can go to Seattle. You can go to Washington. You can go to New York, play some jazz clubs, and your sound will be consistent from venue to venue. That's why the Tone Junkie, HW, aka Jonathan, I know your real name, boy. That's why he made all those videos about the Kemper all those years ago, saying Kemper is better than your tube amp. And he gave all the reasons why Kempers are better than your tube amp, because you got consistency of sound. You can just plug in directly to the front of house and have your sound all ready to go. You don't have to worry about a microphone and all the different stuff. Now, I mean, I'm sure John Nathan Cordy and Steve Sterlacci, and they all say the same thing, right? It's about convenience and flexibility and not having to have $10,000 worth of tube amps in your possession, if not more, right? You can have it all in one convenient Mahler. Now, if you're a channel like I have, I probably have $10,000 worth of just modeling here in my studio, right? So I don't want you to think that I'm being a hypocrite or anything, saying that you only need one modeler. Because if you wanted to collect all the modelers, then you could definitely do that. You can go out and buy a Quad Cortex and a Fractal and a ToneMaster Pro. And I mean, all these units average around $1,500 to $1,800 each. So you do the math. If you've bought 5 or 6 of these modelers, you're well into 10 grand or higher, just for a simple digital setup, right? So yeah, if you're looking at it like that, you could probably just go buy a few Boss pedals, maybe a good Lightspeed, a Tube Screamer. You could get there's like a Nobles ODR right here. You can probably get for $100. So you could have like a small pedal board for about $500, maybe $800. You can buy a tube amp for around $600 to $1,000, somewhere in there. And then you can have a guitar that's, anywhere from $200 to $1,000 to $2,000. So you could have a guitar rig that costs you, let's just say $2,000, right? With an amp, a pedal board, a small pedal board, and a guitar. But that's $2,000, and you could spend $2,000 and get, or a little less than $2,000 and get you FM9 that literally has all the Mesa Boogie amps, all the Marshall amps, all the Bogners, all the you name it, it's all in here, as well as all the pedals, as well as all the delays and reverbs and modulation effects. And then you can hit one button and you can literally just change your whole sound if you wanted to. So with all that said, let's open up a box. I don't have a big knife or a big sword like some of these cool guys on YouTube do, but now I'm a little embarrassed because I literally just sold my FM9 like 2 months ago, and I got to thinking, and I was like, I really do like the Fractal FM9. I like the form factor. I like the number of switches. I like that you can make each switch be totally customizable because they have different layouts that you can choose from, and you even make your own custom layouts, which you can't really do on other maulers. Let me flip this over here. Throw it over there. All right, so, and I do like the sounds. And I think to me, the Fractal is a good benchmark for just what things should sound like. And that's what people have been saying for years. I got this for $16.99 with $100 off. And there's $168 tax and then $26 shipping. It shipped from New Hampshire. So total price is $1,895.08. So there you go on that. Fractal is sold direct. They don't have dealer markups. You can't buy them from Sweetwater or Zounds or American Music Supply or anything else. You just have to buck it up and just buy it direct. So the Mark II turbos, these have the bigger screens, which usually have smaller screens. I can show you real fast. So here's the FM9. All right. Nice pedal board. If you look at if you look at a pedal train fly, you can see how big this board is. This is like 14 by 22. We have an FM9 here. You can put on like that, which pretty much takes up the whole width of the board. And then you could have maybe like a separate tuner. You can have like a separate row of pedals back here. Because this does have some, what does this have? There's different inputs. I'm looking for the, how do you do the send and return for like 4 cable method type stuff? That'd be interesting. Anyway, it's all in there. But yeah, so you can see kind of the size of a pedal board, right? So you're definitely saving a little bit of room by not having a full-on pedal board at your disposal. And then plus you're getting literally all the drive effects, all the delays, modulations, reverbs. I mean, everything you literally ever would want in a nice, convenient size. So, Andrew Collins, though his name is changed online, he is in the house. My QC is doing great for me. No switching gaps at all. Yeah, the QC does not have switching gaps. The GX100, if you don't have the exact same effects in each preset, then it will have a gap. And Fractal had a gap. You kind of had to do some workarounds until maybe like a year and a half ago, when they added gapless switching to the AxeFX3. Then it came to the FM9, and then at the time I had an FM3 as well, and I sold it right before they added gapless switching to the FM3, which would have been really cool, because then you could have basically you could switch between your presets and have zero gap. So, but the FM9 has zero is gapless, and it works well. I did have the QC for a little bit, and the only thing I don't like about this camera angle is like it's kind of in the way of my view right here, which I'm not too fond of. But let's see. All right, let's go ahead and plug this in. Let's plug it in. Actually, let's do this. I'm gonna get the Helix set up, because I'm gonna put the Helix or the FM9 into the Helix, and then from there, you can kind of see I'm gonna put this thing right here, and kind of gonna need the power cable. Power cable would be good. Andrew, glad to see you got back. The FM9, can't wait to get mine. Did you see the new Fractal? Yes, I did. I saw it this morning, or was it this morning, or maybe late last night? I think it was first thing this morning I saw it. And I'm like, wouldn't you know it, I order a new Fractal product and they come out with another Fractal product, which I think is cool. If you want to limit yourself just mentally with whatever limitations of gapless switching and all this stuff, then I think that product would be very good for a lot of people, especially if you're already used to how do I want to do this? Especially if you're already used to the Fractal ecosystem and just how all the amps sound and all the stuff, then I think it'll be good. It'll be a good option. What do I want to do here? What do I want to do? I'm going to unplug that thing. And maybe I should have had all this set up beforehand, but we're hanging out. You're hanging out with me. I'm hanging out with you. We're all having fun here. And we're just going to make it happen. So, and I have a nice long cable that I can still talk to you and not have the microphone be 5 feet away from my face, depending on the certain angles that I'm pointing. Okay, so now what do I need? I need my XLR cables. So I'm just going to do this mono. I'm not going to try to do it stereo or anything. And we have one cable. I'm not sure which one's going to be which yet. Let's turn that on, and then we'll add this cable over here. And I'm probably going to have to find some more XLR cables. Actually, I don't need an XLR for this. I actually need 2 1/4-inch cables. So let's do that. Da-da-da-da-dee. Ba-ba-da-ba-ba-da-boo. Ba-ba-da, ba-ba-da. All right, here's this cable. Let's see what we got. Ba-da-dee-da-da. Ba-ba-da-ba-da. Okay. I'm gonna take this sucker right here. I'm gonna plug it into my input. So I will have one XLR. Well, actually, I'm gonna have two XLRs going to the board. And then I'm gonna need that. So maybe you can kind of see what I'm doing here. Not exactly. Not exactly. You can see it. I'm a little discombobulated, if you ask me. All right, I got Discord. I'm on Discord, folks. If you wanna check it out, we can talk about gear over there and have all kinds of fun chats, and whatnot. Let's see here. Uh-oh. I just messed up. I just messed it up. Let's go, let's do this. Let's not do it that way, though. Actually, this is not a bad, it's not a bad view. Let's put the 90D in there. I got back to using my 90D because it was broke. It's not broke, but it was just off for a long time. And I couldn't figure out why it was broke. So I just kept using the webcam. And you know, it is what it is. So I'm gonna stick myself up here in the corner. How about that? I'm doing all this live in real time. And then I'm gonna do another thing. We'll make this the M50. So I have a Canon M50 that is there. Okay. And then I'll change the order of these. There we go. All right, something like that. We'll make that nice and in focus. Okay. Crap, what's your name? Rich. Rich, who was viewing last night. How's it going? I'm trying to remember names here. Now I want to hook up an expression pedal to FM9. What kind of cable do I need? You need a TRS cable, my friend. TRS, which means tip ring sleeve. I'm going to go ahead and turn this FM9 on. Get that thing going. And then we're going to need to be on, we're going to do an instrument input. There's also a stereo, two stereo balanced inputs on this thing, which is kind of cool. Yeah, that's really neat. So I'm going to need to go output. Actually, I'm going to need to add a power cable. A power cable. Where am I at here? Where am I at? There we go. Okay. Flip that on. What up, Francis? Francis is in the house. Always. All right, I know where all my cables are. Let me go grab one. All right, so this will be fun. If you've watched my channel for any length of time, you've seen me unbox the FM9 like 3 times. Like I said, it's embarrassing, I know, but I'm an idiot. What can I say? What can I say? Hey. All right, so now we're going to go. You can see we have send and returns right here. So I'm going to go send to the Fractal input. Okay. And then we're going to go output of the Fractal. This is just hooking up crap 101. I'm going to go left out of the main output. And then that is going to go into the return of all that. Okay, so we got sends and returns for 1, 2, 3, 4. And in future videos, I can hook up the Toastmaster Pro. I can hook up the GX100. I can hook up my Headrush and my Kemper player. And I can literally have 5 devices that I can shoot out against by using the Fractal here. Or not the Fractal, but just the Helix, which is really why I bought the Helix in the first place. I did like that it had 4 loops, so I can kind of hook up all my maulers that I wanted to, and then basically just send it all out of one an XLR. Shoot, let's get this back. All right, I need my other XLR here. So we're going to go stereo out of this thing. All right, let's go ahead and make a preset, shall we? So we're going to go to... all right, we're going to go to 26A. You can see we have 0 things in there. Okay, so we're going to go to the middle. And let's bring in... I'm going to bring in an IR. Okay, one of my Doctor McFarland IRs. Single, and we're going to make it be, let's go FE, which does not stand for flat earth, by the way. Maybe it does, who knows. This is a greenback with a 121 down 50% and a vintage 30 with a 57 up at 100%. So it's a cool overall sound. And then we're going to do a loop. So a send and return, mono, and let's see what other options. We got a fixed loop 1, like so. Okay, so that should give us a sound for that. And now, let me see what I've done with my cable. And make sure this is on. Okay, I'm getting... Okay, I'm getting signal. So that way we know we have signal from the Fractal coming in. So this is cool. And I could technically have a like a Helix rack version and just keep it in the rack, because I don't play out with the Helix at all, but it's just for studio stuff. But I could if I was playing out more. Okay, so I have a output 1 on the Fractal over here turned up, and I'm on the 59 bass guy right now. Okay, we'll turn the trails on for that, and then let's go ahead and let's go enter. Let's go zoom. And let's just go change our amplifier. How about that? Okay. Now, you tell me. This is audience participation here. You tell me what you want to hear. Okay. What do you want to hear? We can do Princeton's. We can do deluxe reverbs. We can do Mezzo Boogie stuff, Bogner stuff, Orange. Literally whatever you want. This is your show. Okay. I'm just here. Administrating and doing all the dirty work. Okay. But I want y'all to have some fun with this, so that y'all let me know what you want. Francis has a gear question. Oh no. What are your thoughts on the SSL 12? I use it every day at work. I work for Harrison Audio, and we are sister companies with SSL, Solid State Logic, because we are owned by the same company called Audiotonics, which actually purchased Harrison about 2 years ago. And it was a good setup. I mean, we're doing a lot of hardware stuff now, along with Mixbus and plugins and whatever else. But I use the SSL 12 literally every day at work, and it works great. It has 4 loopback channels, or at least 4 playback channels, and then it has a loopback, so you can pick off any one of those outputs, those USB outputs, to loop back into your software. And I use it for live streaming. I use it literally for everything. And it has 4 built-in mic line inputs, and it also has an ADAT output, or an ADAT input, that goes from the output of another external device. So you can technically have 12 mic pre's on a very small bus-powered unit. And it's got 2 headphone jacks. It's got a big knob for, master volume for your studio monitors if you want to use it for that. And I think for what it is and everything you get with it, it's a very, very nice audio interface. So I would highly recommend it. And I hope that helps. Yeah, third time is the charm, man. I'm really trying not to. I really don't want to get rid of it this time. It's going to be a keeper for sure. All right, so we got some Voxes, and we have some Marshall JCM 800s. Okay, so let's do that. Let's go in. We're going to click on amp. Actually, enter. Actually, not enter. We're going to edit. And we're going to go find a JCM 800 in here. And I know exactly where those are. It's a Brit. They call it, in the Fractal land, they call it a Brit 800. And we have number 34. We have a 2203 high and low, a 2204 high and low, a 800 mod, and an 800 Studio 20. Then we have a Brit AFS 100, which is basically based off of the Guns N' Roses album, I think. I think that's what that is. But let's just go ahead and let's choose the let's choose a 2203 high on that one. Okay, how about that? All right, pretty cool. Let's go ahead and move over, and let's get this kind of situated here. Okay, that looks good. So I'm going to add another amp, and right now I'm actually going to select a switch, which is the beauty of the Helix. You can just do a capacitance finger tap, and it asks you if you want to add that block to. I just sneezed, and that's why we have a mute button on the mixer. And actually, if you want to add that block to the switch, and you just say yes, and it's super easy to do that. So what I'm actually going to do here is I'm going to put the effects loop and the block and the amp block on the same switch. So all I have to do is just hit the switch over and over and over, and it'll toggle back and forth between the 2 amps or the 2 blocks. So that's super convenient here on the, I'm going to go ahead and turn that off though. And we just need the amp. We don't need a cab or anything. So we're going to go all the way down to the 800. And we got the Brit 2203. Okay. Okay, I'm going to add that to the switch. Yes, and now we're going to toggle back and forth. So, all right, let's go and turn off our reverb. Let's do bypass. And we actually need to turn off our cab. Let's turn that off. I'm going to turn up the output on the Fractal. Let's see, we got Marshall 900. Okay, so we will check that one out. We will check that one out for sure. So, okay, going back to the all right, now at this point we have, let's get everything centered up on our dials here. Okay, we're gonna actually, we'll have the presence at, we'll have everything at 5. How about that? So we have the drive down, the bass, middle, treble, presence, channel volume. We'll put the master on 5. And this is not going to be a scientific, you know, anything by any means. But we are going to need to, let's go into edit. Let's go to page over. Let's make sure our gain is set accordingly as well. So master volume, let's bring the level up to 0 on this amp. Okay, let's bring this back down. So that way I'm not blowing you guys out. Okay, let's raise the volume of that one just so we're level matching here. Let's put the presence on. I just noticed I had one of these off. There we are. Turn that presence up there. Just checking in settings, make sure they're roughly the same. Now you can see on the screen when it's on that double arrow signal that I'm on the Fractal. Then when I hit it again, it's going over to the amp on the Helix. Okay, so to me in my ears, having everything right at 5 o'clock ish, everything is pretty much on 5 o'clock here. Just double checking settings. Okay, save. I mean, maybe just a little bit, maybe just a little. The what's happening here? I want to be on 3. Maybe just a little bit. The Helix does have that kind of upper end bite that Steve Cerlacci was talking about, but you know what? It is so minuscule. And I actually have the global EQ on, so let me go ahead and turn that off. Which really, I guess it doesn't matter because the Fractal would be going through the global EQ as well. So let's just go ahead and keep it off, so that way we're not doing any extracurricular post processing or anything. All right, so let me know. What do you think of that? Landon says turn it up. I mean, it is up. Landon likes everything loud. And I like that about Landon. I really do. I'm not being facetious. So I'm not showing my screen right now, so you just have to take what I'm giving with a just use your ears here. I'm going to take a break for a second, so you can let me know what you think. That's a standard saying. Totally, it is your standard saying. I know you. You can't fool me. I know exactly what you're saying. Okay. Helix or Fractal tone-wise? What do you mean? They do both sound good, yep. Sounds good to me. Let's edit this text here. I feel like the text could be a little bit bigger. Shrink to fit. Size 48. Let's make it 64. And it's still small. Okay. Both sounds the same on my TV. Need better speakers to really tell. Well, I mean, there you go. Be interesting to reverse the test, see if that matters. Yeah, but I don't want to... I haven't had good success adding a return and effects, sending a return block into the chain, but I just don't really care at this point. I thought about that on the way here, because that was the argument that some of the YouTubers were doing with the Stadium versus the OG Helix, was basically saying, well, the Stadium has better hardware now, so it technically should sound better even with the old models. Not even the Agora models. I can talk. I really can. But I mean, I just don't care because I'm an audio engineer, and you can do so many things in post-production to a sound to tweak it to make it sound how you need to fit into the mix. Okay, when you're playing by yourself, it's, everything's up in the air because you perceive the sound a certain way based on how close the amp is to your wall. If it's in a corner, if you're standing up, then all the sound is hitting your feet instead of your ears directly. But if you're sitting in a chair, your ear is that much closer, about 2 to 3 feet closer to the amp. And if the amp is 10 feet away from you, then it's all about perception. You're going to perceive the sound a certain way depending on the location of where you are to that amp in the room. Okay. And I'm actually using headphones right now, so I'm getting everything directly into my ears, and I'm not having to crouch down and put my ear in front of the speaker and stand up and go walk away 20 feet and then hear how it sounds then. It's all about perception. It really is. So, okay, then. you go. I could technically I could use the Toemaster Pro as a hub because I do have it in a rack over here. And it also has four loops on it. So I could plug everything into the Toemaster Pro and really see if the hardware does anything at all to a sound. But most of these, Line 6 is owned by Yamaha. I mean, they have literally billions of dollars to throw out these modeling things. Not billions, but at least millions of dollars to throw at this modeling stuff. And you would think that Yamaha would know how to put together a send and return insert on a device, right? I mean, they make mixing boards, they make guitars, they make motorcycles. Surely they know how to mechanically and correctly make an effects loop. So I just don't see how an effects loop or the hardware itself could make that huge of a difference. It would be like, see, there's the key right there. It's all about the hardware. It's like, I just don't think so. All right, let's just choose another amp, shall we? Yeah, Dynacaps are fine, but I'm using my personal IR for my Doc McFarland IR pack, which is made by Greg Barth over at Sonic DNA. And the IR is fine. The IR is not the issue. Okay. Nor do I think that Dynacabs would really be that much different. But yes, I'll do another setup in another video and try to run everything through the Fractal with a Dynacab and see if that does anything at all. But you never know. Full band mix audience can notice the difference between Helix and FM9. No, I don't think anybody could. Nobody could, because you could be either standing right in front of the stage, or you could be in the very, very back against the wall. You could be over at the bar on the left side of the venue, or you could be sitting on the right side of the room. And you're going to perceive the sound on how that band is mixed by the front of house engineer by where you're at in the room. And you're just never going to tell if someone was using a Fractal or a Helix on stage, coming back through the main speakers there. So yeah, you're never going to tell once other instruments are involved. It's just not gonna happen. Okay, what you're getting with all these different units is, okay, the Fractal has channels on all their blocks. So you can have a channel A, B, C, or D. You can do that for your drives, which you can have up to 2 different drive blocks on the FM9. You can have 4, I think, on the Axe Effects. You can have 2 different amps with 4 channels each. So that's 8 total channels. So I could set up one preset with 8 scenes and switch between 8 different amplifiers within the same preset. And that's just nuts. You can't do that on a Helix. Okay. So what you're paying for, and I've said this for a few weeks now, or at least a few months, ever since, we've seen the stadium being announced, and now that's finally out and all the different things, is you are not paying for better tone, because you're not going to get it. You're going to get great tone from all the different modelers that are on the market right now and in the future, because modeling has gotten that good. Okay. Profiling and cloning and all the, whatever you want to call it, all of it has gotten really, really good and is close enough in a mix to where you're never going to tell. And if you really want to compare it to an actual tube amp in a room, then you need to run that modeler. This is what I like doing, is I like running the 4 cable method into a tube amp and then bypassing the send and return. So that way you're bypassing the preamp of the tubes of the tube amp and then using the modeler into the power amp section of the amp. So that way you're getting the same power amp and the same speaker, but then you're just swapping out the preamps. And my gosh, I mean, that's a killer setup right there, if you ask me. especially if you already like the channel that's on your tube amp, but you want to now add other virtual channels to your amplifier. Using a digital modeler is the best way to do it. Okay, I gotta turn off my Discord because it's ringing at me over here. Your words cured my gas. Well, that's great. Hopefully it cured other things too. I'm just kidding. But yeah, if you already have a Helix, but you're just not happy with the flexibility of how it can be used, and you'd rather have a touchscreen, and you'd rather have all the other bells and whistles that the new version has, then yes, go ahead and buy something else. But if you're happy with how it currently works, and you're okay with the limitations that it has, i.e. you can only add so many drives and amps to a preset, you can only do so many things, you can only use so many reverbs and so many delays in a preset, then I think you're perfectly fine. Okay, now let's go ahead. I have another amp in mind, but I want you to tell me another amp. I did have a request for a Vox, so let's go over here, and I'm not quite sure which one the Vox is. Let's go to the V section. How shall we? And surely there's a Vox over there. It's probably called like a UK something. I should probably know this. And do not disregard the FAS models, those amp models. And really, if it was up to me, I would only have the FAS models on the Fractal units, because I don't see why you need 250 different amp models. Just give us like 15 like really, really good ones that cover clean, crunch, and lead, and you got everything you need right there. Fractal amp list. Let's see what it says in Vox. Vox AC15 top boost. I gotta search for it because I just don't know. Oh no. Yeah, Vox, I'd say Fractal should be better than that. Vox is a hard model to do well. Yeah, I can see that. All right, so it's called a Class A 30 watt top boost. That's what it is. Okay. I knew that. I knew it. All right, so Class A. Let's do a Class A 30 watt. Okay, here we go. All right, let's go over to our Helix amp, and let me show you what I'm doing here on the screen. Bapadoo. We're going to click that, and we're going to go find, let's see what we got here. We're going to go to an A30 Fawn. Let's do an Essex A30. How about that? And these are currently both on, so let's toggle it. Okay. All right, so let's see what we got. And we got a lot of things going on here. So let's put the cut at 5. Bass and treble. Let's put everything at 5. But I'm probably going to want to have a cleaner option on this. So let's see what we got. Let's put the high cut at 0. See, this one just has bright and a high cut. It doesn't even give you an EQ or anything, which is interesting. So. Okay, let's bring up the level of our amp. Okay, something a little chimier about the Helix one for right now. All right, let's bring down the drive. Bring up the channel volume. Okay, back to Fractal. Let's bring the gain down. I'm going to take the high cut all the way off on these so we get the max amount of brightness. Turn the gain down more, level up. Pretty good. Pretty good overall. We got a comment here. Do you offer any online mixing course for sound engineers? I have a mixing tutorial that I did a few years ago, but it's really just based on one song, and but it's not really like a step-by-step how-to kind of thing. So let me know exactly what you're looking for, and I can work on something like that for the new year, for January or something. But if you just have questions, hop on my Discord. I'll have a link down below. You can just ask any question that you have, and I'll try to help you based on if you're trying to produce something yourself, or if you're receiving tracks from somebody else and you're just trying to mix them, or whatever you're trying to do. So I'll help you out the best I can. Okay. So that's the Amp Essex A30 on the Helix. I think it sounds fine. Here's the Fractal. Okay, the Helix is a little bit brighter, but honestly, I don't mind it. I think it sounds great. All right, let's go to a top boost option down here. Let's do the Class A top boost. And once again, we're going to be turn the gain down a bit here. So. That's one thing I noticed about the Helix after like the last update, was it kind of has this weird like switching sound when you go between two different amps or two different whatevers. So I don't know why that is, but maybe it's just me. So that's with everything on 5. I'm actually going to turn the bass down a bit on the Fractal. and then turn up the drive a bit on the Helix. Maybe not that much, maybe just like 2.5 or something. Cool. I just step into front of house mixing. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I do have a Yamaha TF5 right here in front of me. So, yeah, just jump in and ask any questions that you want on the Discord. There's multiple different Tac-O-Bout pages in there that you can, or yeah, groups that you can ask. We can talk about it over there. There you go. What about feel? Do you notice anything? No, I don't. The feel is the same to me. All the maulers feel the same to me. I'm not looking for or trying to go out of my way to feel like a certain like depth or like chunkiness or like a speaker push or anything. But I'm also just listening through headphones. So it may be different if I was going through a power amp and a real cab, but both of them sound good and they feel good. And it really just depends on, I don't know what it depends on, really. Honestly. I do know that the Helix is just brighter overall, but not by leaps and bounds. It's just a slight. Let's try this for fun. Let's go and add a distortion. And let's go add a... let's do a Scream 808. Let's put the gain down, the level up. See if pushing a drive into them does anything different. Okay. Let me add this drive to a switch. And then I'm going to add a little bit of reverb as well, just for fun. Because we can. Let's go to Legacy, and I like just a good old spring reverb. We'll turn the mix down a little bit. Actually, no, I'm going to bring in the tile reverb that Andrew likes, which I actually like as well. It's a good all-around reverb. Okay, with that sound, with a reverb in there now, it gives a little bit of space, like you're in like a small to medium-sized room. Okay, back to the Helix. Okay, so maybe, I mean, honestly, once you get this is literally all comes down to the mix, okay? I could take both of these amps. What am I on here? I need to hit number 3. I can take both of these amps, and I can record either 2 different passes, or I can do the same pass, and then I can pan them hard left and right in the stereo's field, and it'll just sound like a nice big guitar sound in the mix with drums and bass and piano and saxophone and whatever else. So and that's kind of what you want when you're double tracking guitars, is you want them to be a little bit different. You want to have like a greenback on the left and a Venice 30 on the right. So when you spread them out and then hear them in stereo, you hear the nuances of the tones, like, and how they mesh together. You don't want things that ever sound exactly the same. That's just boring. Okay. And also when you're double tracking, you're literally playing it once and then you're playing it again. You're not trying to do one performance and then see how the tones compare based on the one performance. Now, when you're doing shootouts, this is not technically the correct way of doing a shootout. I should be technically like playing a loop, and then so I have the same performance going over and over and over, and then I can swap back and forth between the amps, and you can get a little better gauge, technically, maybe, I guess, but then I have to like hawk my leg up and like, hit a switch, and I don't have the thing on the floor. But if it was on the floor, I'd have to keep bending down, and it's just not convenient. So, all right, I'm liking this. I'm going to turn up the treble just a little bit on the Fractal here. Yeah. That's also why I'm basically just playing the same kind of riff over and over and over. So you don't hear me like playing a bunch of different licks and then switching and playing totally different licks. You kind of hear it in context. But I think just turning up the treble on the Fractal kind of matched that brightness that was happening on the Helix, and I've essentially made them sound, I wouldn't say exactly the same, but they're pretty close. So I say at this point, the Helix did a really good job, even 10 years ago, putting out this unit. And I know they've updated the algorithms over the years and added new cabs and all this stuff. But the OG Helix is pretty good, guys. And I just don't know if you need to spend $2,200, especially for features that you may or may not use. If you really need a touchscreen, I say get a Toemaster Pro or something. That's a little bit cheaper. It also is also a smaller unit, so you just don't need all that. If you want to save a lot more money, then get like a Headrush Core for the size. The Headrush Prime is the biggest of all the floor modelers. It's ridiculous that it has to be that big. But if it really came down to money, get a Headrush if you want like a touchscreen, right? If you got a little bit more to spend, and you still want a touchscreen, then you can get a Toemaster Pro, and you can get a really, really good unit out of that. And then if you had a little bit more money to spend, like $2,200 worth to spend, then yes, a Stadium XL would be fine. But the new Stadium is only going to be $1,799. And that's going to get you in the same ballpark as a Toemaster Pro. It just doesn't have the scribble strips. See, I think that's where Line 6 messed up. They should have had the scribble strips on both units and just made one a little bit smaller and took off the treadle, and it would have been fine. But they didn't ask me, so nobody asked me these things. Wow, why is this so small? This is nuts. There we go. Let's do it that way. I've been planning on getting the Stadium XL, but all I really care about is crap. Let's go back. Is amp sounds with the release of the AM4, and with myself already owning the OG Helix floor, I'm leaning AM4. Yeah, the AM4 is sub, especially $700. I think right now you can get it on sale for $649 because they've knocked off $50. So the AM4, if you're looking to get your foot into the Fractal world without spending more than $1,000, I think the AM4 is really, really good. That's going to allow you to have a really good amp, a really good drive, that you can also change the channels of those blocks. Then you can have a reverb and a delay, or maybe you have a separate reverb, like a separate reverb pedal that you want to put after the AM4. So therefore you can have maybe like a modulation section and then a delay. And I think you'd have a really cool little pedal board right there. I'm not sure of the dimensions of the that sounds great right there, man. I'm not sure of the dimensions of the AM4, but it didn't look huge. It looks like a decent size, maybe like 3 Boss pedals put together side by side kind of deal. I really wish that my camera wouldn't focus on my lens here. Let's do this. Now I'm kind of more in focus. Okay. You can use a pair of Tonex 1 pedals for capture too. That is very true. And those pedals are not very expensive at all. And yeah, you could do all kinds of stuff. Headrush is pretty awesome when you think about it because you get the touchscreen and modeling and profiling. And you get the core for like $600. And let me check real fast. How much is the Headrush core? While I'm looking this up, let me know what the next amp you want. It can be Princeton's, it can be Mesa Boogie stuff. We can do a high gain thing. We can do even cleaner. We can do like a Fender Twin type sound. I mean, it doesn't matter to me. We've been going for about an hour and 14 minutes, so I don't want to make this too long. I don't know if people really watch 2-hour live streams, but you know, maybe we'll do one more amp. So better make it a good one. Headrush core is $699, so it's $700. And then the Prime is $999. So I mean, you're really only saving $300 between the two. Then the Flex Prime is $499, but the touchscreen on that one is considerably smaller. So I mean, it still works fine, but I think the core is a good middle ground, but it doesn't have an IEC cable. And I really, really wish the core would have came with an IEC cable instead of like a wall wart. That was the downfall for me of the core model, not having IEC. Yeah, I'm sure it is smaller than the FM3 for sure. It's definitely smaller. The only other unit that currently does that is the Quad Cortex. Yeah, I forgot about the Quad Cortex. Yeah, so the Quad Cortex has a touchscreen. It is relatively small. It has 10 switches on it, just like the Tonemaster Pro. Even though the Tonemaster Pro is slightly bigger and the foot switches are a little bit farther apart, which I prefer. But the Tonemaster Pro does not have profiling, and the Quad Cortex has models and it does the profiles, or cloning or capturing. I think they call them captures on the Quad Cortex. So yeah, I don't see myself getting a Quad Cortex anytime soon. because I've already had one, and I just didn't feel. I felt like to me it was a desktop unit that you pay $1,500 or $1,600 for, and if I can't put it on the floor and feel comfortable with it, then I don't want to spend all that money with that. So, all right, Andrew says Princeton. Yeah, the Prime is less expensive on Reverb for sure. But you still got to pay shipping. You still got to pay tax and all that stuff. So if you can find a Prime used, like a marketplace, then that'd be a good deal. Andrew, I'm really liking the tile reverb. It's pretty great. All right, we're going to go to the Princeton. The U.S. Princess. Okay. And then over here, that one for sure is in the P's. Pretty sure. Yeah, the Princeton Reverb. Okay. There we go. Let's see what we got. Okay, so this one's a little less in volume. Maybe we'll turn down the drive just a bit. I'm actually just brought this up and kept the same settings just to see what it would do. Let's bring the channel volume up on this all the way. Save it. I'll say that's pretty close. All right, I have not shown you what I've done, so you let me know which one is which. Okay, here is number one. You'll never tell them apart in a mix. You'll just never tell them apart. Never. Ever, ever, ever. I'd be willing to put money on it, I'm sure. I think Tonex will surprise that NAM with the large unit. I think that'd be great. I like the IK multimedia, like individual, like blue, red, orange, and yellow, whatever colors they are, pedals. Like basically the reverb, delay, drive, and modulation stuff, kind of like basically what like Strymon did or whoever else does. But yeah, if they took all their amps and effects and put them in a nice, convenient floorboard unit, I mean, shoot, and you can still do the Tonex capturing and all the stuff, the cloning. Yeah, I mean, it'd be just another way, as Aaron Short always says, it's just another way to amplify your guitar, essentially. But man, what a way to amplify your guitar, you know. I actually wouldn't mind if Universal Audio came out with their own modeling unit, kind of like the Toadmaster Pro, but then had all their algorithms in there. Like they can have their own American Dream or US Dream, their Vox, their Ruby pedal, the Knuckles, which is the Mesa Boogie rectifier type stuff, and then all the delays and reverbs and modulations. I mean, put that into a nice floorboard that cost around $1,500, $1,600, and you're still saving a lot of money versus buying all the pedals. On Discord, I shared a photo of a pedal board planner or pedal playground that you can go on there. You can pick your pedal board size and put all the pedals on there. And it was a cool board, but that thing would have cost like $3,500. I'm like, man, wouldn't it be great if we just had all these individual pedals like in a floorboard and just did that? You know, it'd be really cool. So, okay, no, okay. Landon says number 1 is the Helix. But then Andrew says number 1 is the FM9. Let's go back through it again here. I'm on the number 1. All right, so one was definitely a little bit brighter than the other. And in the past, the Helix was the bright one. But in this case, number 1 was the Fractal. And then number 2 was the Helix. Okay, so in this case, the Fractal was the slightly brighter one. And then number 2, the Helix, was not quite as bright. But the Princeton on both of them sound really, 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 really close. Landon, here's that chord that you can play. Right, you put this these 2 fingers here, then you add your 3rd in the bass, and then you add your 1st finger back 2 frets. So you got to work on it, man. Work on it. Cool. Okay. That's good. Ogle Pix, what's up, man? I lost my Helix LT power cable. Any IEC cable will do the job. Yeah. Nope. All IEC cables are exactly the same. You can swap them out, do whatever you want. Here is a stack. Well, not that one. But for example, here are 3 IEC cables right here. Here's 3 of them, and you can literally just use any 3 you want. Does not matter. They're all exactly the same. IEC cables. Now, with that said, the Helix LT, let me just double check. I'm pretty sure it doesn't use a wall wart, so it just doesn't have the scribble strips on there. Yeah, see, there you go. Where's my head browser? My hidden browser. There we go. So you can see it right there. I'm going to switch this around. Let's put my 90D in there. Okay. Actually, I probably want to put this over like that, maybe. That would be cool. So that way it looks like I'm looking at the screen, even though I'm not. Whoa, that'd be sick. Okay. So there we go. You got just a regular IEC power, and you can use any cable with that. You're not going to hurt a thing. The Line 6 has a hard sizzle. Well, sure. Maybe you've been influenced by Steve Solacci or something. I'm not sure. I hate to keep calling out Steve, but maybe he's got the golden ears and I don't. Number 3. All right, so the Stadium IC cable has a big noise filter on it. Okay, well that's cool. But you can still just use any IC cable. I mean, they're not technically all that special to me. Okay. Let's do 2 more amps, folks. 2 more. I really want to do a Mezzo Boogie, but you let me know what you want here. I feel like let's do this. I want to put in the 5150 3 amplifier, which is the Panama. Let's do the Panama Blue. And let's bypass one of these. There we go. So here's the Panama Blue. Let's put the gain at 5, the lows, the mids, the highs, everything at 5. Okay. Then let's go back over here. We will add, I do like the 5150 amp. If I had one in real life, I would not be sad. Here's the 5153 100 watt blue. Should be the same. Okay. Let's go back up. Bring up the gain here. Bass, middle, trebles, everything good. We loud, man. We loud. Let's turn that down. Ooh, this is really close. All right, here's the test, folks. And I can definitely take this stream and I can cut them out for like shorts and stuff. So I'm not going to show you my screen, but I'm currently on, what am I on? I'm on number 1, which I might have swapped them from last time. Who knows? Who knows what I did? Here's 1. Okay, both units are essentially at 5 o'clock. Let me just do a little bit of adjusting here. Just making sure. Let's try that. Okay. All right, I'm going to adjust something here on the Fractal. I'm just going to bring up the treble just a little bit. I say it's really, really close, guys. It is super, super close. My OG Helix had a sizzle after the last cab update. It's not present on the Stadium, though. After the last cab update. Well, on my last live stream, I did talking about the OG Helix sounds horrible and how you can fix it. I basically showed... It really comes down to speaker, microphone, and microphone placement. So if you feel like a sound, regardless of what model or what modeler that you're using, this is what audio engineering does, right? You listen to a sound and you determine okay, do I like that sound? Or does it need like a little tweaking, right, in the EQ? So what you can do with a microphone is you can take that mic and you can move it around the speaker, right? This is my speaker here, you can move it around back and forth, left and right, whatever you need to do. And if you feel like it has too much high end, then move the mic away from the center of the cone and more on the edge. Or you can also turn it 45 degrees, which also kind of takes the bite off a little bit. So, yes, you can say the Stadium has less sizzle than the OG Helix, but that does not mean that you can't tweak the sound to make it fit what you're wanting to hear anyways. Okay? No different than on the Fractal, no different on the Helix. It just doesn't matter. Okay, let's actually turn down the gain on both of these. I'm going to do 2.5 on both ish. 2.5. Okay. That one still has a little bit more gain. Let's turn it down to like 2. The number is not important. It's just matching the level. All right, folks. Number 1 is the FM9. You would be, I think you're correct. Yeah. All right, I really like the Mesa Boogie stuff. Just go choose a Mesa Boogie. Up, jump the boogie. And we're going to do a recto. We're going to do a recto red. See what that does. Okay, go back over here. And we're going to need to choose Cali Rectifier. It doesn't give us a red or blue or anything like that, but let's just see what we got. Okay, let's match the gain here. Bring the gain back up on the Fractal. I have a whole playlist on my channel called Anatomy of Tone. And it's literally just me dialing in pedals and amps and all kinds of stuff. I think there's like probably 80 videos in that playlist. If you're just bored on the weekend and want to watch like tons of just me tweaking knobs on pedals and amps, have fun. I did that years ago, and it was fun. And more times than not, I can match. If I was like comparing like 2 different overdrives, I can pretty much match the gain structure and the tonality. Within like a few percentile of each other. I mean, it's pretty close no matter what you do. Okay, what do we got to do here? I'm going to turn my level back up. was number 1. And that was number 2. They both sound great. And I can throw them into a mix, and that it would work. It would just work swimmingly well for what we're needing to do here. FM9 just has a fuller sound to me. Yeah, sure. You can have a fuller sound. Down a bit. Now, technically, the bass was down on the Helix. Let's just turn that back up. Yeah, I could work with either one of those. I can make it work, man. Making it work. If you are not subscribed down below, please do so right now. It is very, very common for any YouTube channel. Like if you watch a YouTube channel, more times than not, like only maybe like 20% or less that watch your videos are actually subscribed. And right now, I am on the cusp of reaching 18,000 subscribers, which is kind of sad because I've been doing this for 8 years, and you would think I would have way more, but I don't. I'm not bitter about it at all. Not bitter about it at all. I got 17,800, and I have 1.1 thousand, yeah, 1,100-ish. Videos on the channel. So lots of live streams, lots of Anatomy of Tones. There's some Harrison Mixbus stuff on there. Let me show you what I'm doing here. Reaper Basics for Beginners series. We got In the Studio, just me talking about Reaper stuff and different studio stuff. We have all the Talk About Gears, which is a lot. We have a Name That Song playlist if you want to have some fun with your friends. We have the Should You Buy series. We also have the Anatomy of Tones series where I go through guitars and amps and pedals and shootout stuff. If you want to see my new studio build that I did about 2 years ago, there's a little documentary on that. Guitar Tech, which is just me working on guitars in a fun way. There's some guitar lessons on there and some Headrush MX5 and all kinds of other stuff. So there's a Fractal playlist. There's also a Toolmaster Pro, a Helix playlist, a Headrush playlist. I've actually started a new channel, which I started about 2 years ago. I just kind of abandoned it for a little bit, but I'm back. Now that I have an FM9, you can subscribe to Fractal Audio Systems Weekly. Now we'll be uploading weekly content, at least one video a week, if not two, on the Fractal FM9, giving tips and tricks and how-to videos and amp comparisons and whatever else over there. This channel, the Doctor McFarland channel, is pretty much turned into like a live stream, just talk about gear type stuff. But if you want dedicated Fractal content, that you'll go subscribe over to the other channel. Okay. All right, pretty cool. I'm thinking of one more amp. What other amp? Let's go through the Helix amps and see Let's see what we got here. I need to turn these off. Oh, there's the Panama stuff. Let's do a rev. Let's do a rev generation red amplifier. And where are those? Rev. It's right over here. Let's do red 1 on that. I'm going to turn the drive down on these high gain amps. We just don't need all that gain. It's just not needed. It's already gainy enough. Yes, 2250 Marshall. There is a new AM4 out. That is correct. Okay, let's work on the volume here. The volume difference. The bass is up too much on this one. Let's turn the mids back down, the treble, the presence. Okay, let's do that. Okay, the level needs to go back up a little bit. All right, here's number 1. You ready? Number 1, here we go. Cool. Here's the Scream 808. Okay, cool. I'm actually going to turn the bass down on this a bit. I don't know, guys. I can work with either one of those tones just fine. Just fine. 2550. Remind me your name, please, and also let me know what amp you like on the Fractal. I know you're a Fractal guy, but you also have the Tollmaster Pro, and you might have other things as well. So just let me know what you like, and if you want to see anything else for me to shoot out here. I like the AM4 overall. I just don't like the idea of being limited to only 4 blocks. Even though technically I basically have what I have here in the Helix preset. I have an amp, and on the AM4, the amp and the cab are built in together, so you don't have to have 2 separate slots for that, which is great. And then I have a drive, I have a reverb. The only thing I'm missing is a delay. So let's go and add in a delay here. Which is good. So now I have that in there, but I would still want a modulation effect. And for that, I would have to have at least 5 slots. Just for me personally. So I just think I'd want to be able to have, I think 8 slots for me is a good all around number. And what that gets you is compression, that gives you drive, that gives you your amp block, maybe a cab, essentially. And then you have a modulation, you have a delay, and you have a reverb. And that's 7 right there. And then if you wanted like some modulation before the amp, that'd be 8. So yeah, I mean, compression, overdrive, modulation, delay, reverb, and then an amp and a cab block. I got to have at least those to do what I do. Otherwise, the problem with the AM4 is if you had a drive, amp, delay, and a reverb, then you swap to another preset that did not have a delay in it, that delay would be cut off. I read the manual today because I wanted to make sure about the gapless switching, and the delay would not carry over. It would stop. And then if I had a modulation in the delay slot in the next preset, yeah, I could have tremolo, but then I would be without delay. Or I could cut out the reverb and have modulation and delay. Then I wouldn't have any reverb in the unit. And then I'd have to have a separate reverb outside the unit. So it's just, I want everything in one small convenient package and not have to daisy chain and go outside of itself to add in other things. But if the AM4 is truly smaller, then that's good. And they say, yes, you can pair it with the AM4 and the VP4. So you can have them both side by side and you can go spit if out of one into the other. But then I'm not sure how the scenes would work with that. Because if you switch scenes on one, does it switch it on the other? It wouldn't, because they don't talk to each other in that way, unless there's like some kind of MIDI thing going on. And then you're back to tap dancing between like 2 different units, and you could have like your pre-amplifier effects on the VP4, and then have the amp in slot 1, then a tremolo, delay, and reverb after the amp on the AM4. And you could essentially accomplish everything you need with those 2 units. But then you're in like $1,400 after tax. And at that point, you might as well just buy an FM9 and be done with it. So to me, the limitations are fine if you're willing to deal with the limitations, but at that point, I'd be fine with just having a headrush or something like that. So anyway, I'll turn that tremolo off. A little too much delay in there, but it's fine. Let me add that to a switch. Then turn down the mix a little bit. Save. Yeah, so at AM4, that gives you more slots, but still only has 4 switches. I mean, I'm okay with that because that's essentially what the gig board had, the Headrush gig board. They give you all 11 blocks within the signal chain, but you only had 4 switches to work with. Now, the Headrush core has 5 switches, but it also has an A-B switch that you can go to the next set of switches up. So you only have 5 physical switches, but you have 2 separate A and B banks that you can switch between. So essentially you have 10 switches to work with on the Headrush core. And shoot, I mean, that's a lot for a lot. That's more than enough for a lot of people. So you could have on bank A, you could have your scenes, but you still have 2 scenes per switch. So it's technically 10 scenes there. And then you can go to the next bank and have some stomps going on. So all kinds of different options there that you can mess around with. All right, let's see what we got. You did, yeah, we saw them. And you can't have any pitch block features or a polytune. So yeah, you're definitely limited for what you're getting for $650 on the AM4. I mean, it's fine, but you're definitely, if you're gonna spend a little bit more to get the FM3, you at least still have you only have one amp block, but you still have 4 channels on that amp block, which is pretty good. You can only have one reverb, but that's still fine. And then you can build out your chain based on the DSP limitations on however you want. And you may be able to get away with the capo effect on the FM3. But I hadn't tried it in a while. So anyway, it is what it is. I'm hating that I'm not in focus. This camera right here is it's not working for me. Why isn't it not working for me? There's the manual. There's the autofocus. I need you to work. Yeah. All right, guys. Any other amps? Anything else that you want to hear between the Helix? We can do like another cleaner amp. Clean-ish amp. Let's go looking on the Helix here, see what else we got. Maybe let's do it like a deluxe. Let's do a deluxe reverb. Deluxe, US Deluxe Norm. Let's do the vibe on that one. And then over here, should be in the D section, I would think. We're going to do a double verb. A double verb. That might be a twin. We got a deluxe right there. A deluxe tweed. Deluxe verb vibrato. There we go. Okay. Ooh. A little bit of volume discrepancy here. Let's deal with that first. All right, here's number one. Okay, number one. Bring the treble back up on that one. All right, there you go, guys. Get that thing out of the way. I want to be in focus here, camera, not anything else, okay? Though I think I have an issue with my lens. It doesn't want to focus for some reason. Let's turn on the tube screamer. go to the middle position on this guitar. Let's actually switch over to the Fender Ultra over here. This is a guitar I got on a trade back over the summer. I had a Kiesel that I was trying to sell, and it just wasn't budging. And this guy offered a Fender American Ultra, and it's a really cool guitar. I'm actually quite smitten with it. It's pretty nice. It has a really nice neck heel right here, nice and rounded off. And then there is a backing. I just hadn't put it back on. Then it also has an S1 switch, so it adds in the neck pickup. Here we go. Okay, this is on the bridge pickup. So here's number 1. Yeah, there you go. So you got really nice, just a good single coil. These are noiseless pickups on here. Here it is with the S switch out. Once again, guys, record it into your computer, hard pan them left and right. I mean, you just have a nice, big, chimey sound there. And they'll sound great. Try on some tremolo. Some delay. All right, cool. Guys, I don't really know what else to say at this point. I mean, the Helix sounds fine. It's not as broke as you think it is. And it really just comes to show there's like, oh, Line 6 comes up with a new modeling amp that's $2,200. Just go all spend our money. It's like, well, if you don't need the features, then you're definitely not upgrading for the tone, because the sound, to me, is, at least compared to an FM9, is very much on par with each other. Okay? So let's do the same thing with the FM9. So if you're going to upgrade to an FM9 from an original Helix, then you're going to do it because maybe you like the editor that's better. Maybe you like the customization of the foot switches better than on the original Helix. Maybe you like the channel per block kind of deal. So you can have like 8 different amps within a preset and then swap between them via scenes, right? Maybe you're going to do it for that. Maybe you like the fact that you can go into the amp block and you can change the preamp tubes and the power amp tubes. That's a cool option, right? Maybe it'll give you some things to tweak out there. Just kind of dial in the sound a little bit more to how you want, versus what what the Helix thinks you should sound like, possibly. There's the reverbs on here are definitely way better. I don't want to say way better, but like there's definitely some cool reverbs on here. So let me just show you a reverb real fast. Let's go to let's do this. All right, so I'm on the Fractal right now. Let's go to Fields of Pyrite. All right, we got stuff like that. Let's go to like Ice Castle. Let's go to Lush Spring. And we got Mausoleum. Okay, all kinds of different options in here. North Church. All right, this could be a reason why you would want to upgrade. Nimbostratus. Now, that would be a reason why I'd want to upgrade from the Headrush, because the Headrush does not have those kind of lush reverbs in it, okay? I'd be forced to buy... I probably want to buy like a Flex Prime or a Core, then add a secondary pedal into the loop. But then when you add things into the loop on a Headrush, it turns off the gapless switching, so all your delays and reverbs do not spill over between presets. If you stay within the rig, then it's fine. But once you start wanting to go between one rig to another, it'll cut off the sound, and that's retarded. So. Okay, pretty cool reverb sound there. Let's go to Sagittarius. Let's go over and make sure the mix is turned up a little bit more. That one's fun. Stratocumulus. All right, so the reverbs alone or would be worth upgrading from the Helix if you're going to a FM9. It does have more DSP, so you can put more things into a preset, and you have totally customizable signal chains. So you can go straight, you can go parallel, you can go all kinds of stuff, right? So that'll definitely be a good option there for upgrading. The delays are really cool. Let's see what else we got here. I'm going to change this delay to a pitch, a plex delay. Okay, check this out. We got this. Let's actually go back. Let's turn off this reverb. Bypass it. Go back to here. Dwight Bailey is in the house. What's up, Dwight? And we've been going for 2 hours and 7 minutes, so it's probably time to shut this down. But I'm just saying that Fractal units, they do sound really good, but that does not mean that the original Helix doesn't sound good. If you were to upgrade from a Helix to a Fractal, those would be the reasons. You know, amp channels, drive channels, better reverbs, better delays, more DSP, customizable signal paths, customizable switches that you can make do anything you want. You can have hold functions, tap functions. You can have custom layouts, which is really neat. Basically, the Helix gives you a preset view, a scene view, and a stomp view. So there's really 3 different layouts, right? But on the Fractal, you have those same layouts, and you can have, like, I think there's a total of 9 different layouts. So you can have 6 more layouts than what the Helix has, and those can be totally customizable to whatever you want. They have per preset block options, so you can build out presets and make them totally different from one to the next, just by setting up your per preset functionality there. I mean, really, Fractal is the king of maulers at this point, because it does so much. But what most people have a hard time with is you got the buttons and you got these knobs you got to turn on the unit, and it's just not as easy as a touchscreen. And I get it; it's not as easy. But if you can learn how to use a computer, or learn how to drive, or learn how to ride a bike, or learn how to do anything in life, you can definitely learn what sequence and what order you need to push the navigation buttons and the exit and enter and all this stuff in order to use the FM9 user interface. And then you can still plug the UI or plug the FM9 into a computer, and then you can get the FM edit, FM9 edit. You can show everything on the screen and all that stuff. Now, the FM9 does not have Bluetooth. It does not have Wi-Fi. So you can't control it with a phone or an iPad or stuff like that. But the original Helix, you can't do that either. And that's kind of the differentiating factors with these newer units. Even the new, even the Kemper, the original Kemper even had Wi-Fi, and you could control it with an iPad and stuff. So the FM9 does not have Bluetooth, as well as the Helix does not have Bluetooth. So you'd have to find a way to add a Bluetooth receiver onto the unit somehow. I'm not sure how you would do that, but if that was something that was important to you, then maybe that would not be a reason for you to upgrade from the Helix to a Fractal, because it doesn't have Wi-Fi or Bluetooth or any of that kind of stuff. And that means that you can't stream music from your phone or like another device through the unit and then practice and play along and do different stuff like that. So Headrush, really, for the money, Headrush does all those things and more. And as far as the Bluetooth and the Wi-Fi and all that stuff, or at least the new units do anyway. Yeah, we're going to have a happy Thanksgiving. It'll be fun. I got work tomorrow, then I'm off until next week or until next Monday. And it'll be a good time to relax and just kind of sit back and do whatever. So I will take this footage, this stream, and I'll break it down into like either shorts or maybe do like a 3 or 4 minute back and forth between the different amps. Just so you can hear which one is which, and you can make up your own mind if the Helix sounds better than the Headrush, or the Helix sounds better than the Fractal, or vice versa. To me, they both sound really, really good, and I can make them work in a mix just fine. But it really does come down to all the other features that you get on the Mahler and not just the sound, because they all sound really good these days. It literally does not matter which one you choose as far as sound goes, because you can make them all sound great, and you can get anything to work, and whether you're recording or you're playing on stage or whatever it is. Okay, so I hope that's helpful to you. I'm glad to have the Fractal FM9 back into the studio. It's just cool to have all those options. And once again, I will have my Fractal Audio Systems Weekly second channel down in the description, so you can check that out, and hopefully you subscribe to that if you want to see more Fractal videos over there. Not saying I won't do any Fractal videos on this channel, but it'll primarily be over on the other channel, Fractal Audio Systems Weekly. So thanks guys for watching. Be sure to subscribe down below. Check out the affiliate links down below if you want to purchase anything online, especially during this season. I got links to Amazon, Sweetwater, and Zounds. So if you find a good deal on any of those, be sure to click on my link first, and I'll get a small commission from that sale at no extra cost to you. And then I do have my products on my website, drmcfarlandstudios.com. You can download Helix presets, Fractal presets, Headrush, Toemaster Pro, Kemper profiles. I think that's pretty much all the presets I have available. And I think there's some Quad Cortex stuff on there maybe, but yeah, those are ways you can help support what I do here on YouTube and online. And until next time, I am Dr. McFarland. I will see you in that next video, if I can find my my outro here. There's my outro. All right, see you guys.